You're listening to the Precision Shooting Podcast, discussing all aspects of precision and long-range rifle shooting. This episode is brought to you by Impact Dynamics. And now, over to your hosts.
Well, hello and welcome to the Precision Shooting Podcast. This is episode number 158. 158. Wow. Yeah, we're kicking along. Andy, how are you?
I'm doing really well. Yeah.
Excellent. And Josh has well, actually, let me say this: we're coming to you live from the podcasting couch.
That's it.
Yeah, something a little bit different tonight.
Just kicking it back.
Absolutely. And over there, Josh, I can't see you again.
Yeah, I know. I seem to always be behind a monitor.
Every time you set this place up, we've had to change the setup. We'll explain why in a minute, but we've had to change the setup for tonight. Yep. Temporary measures in place, and still can't see Josh.
No.
That's okay.
I mean, I could move, but then you couldn't hear Andy, so it probably is a bad podcast in that sense.
Do you? Well, it could be. Yeah. Okay. We'll leave that up for debate.
Yeah.
I was going to say we're on a couch together. This is different.
The big black couch.
The big black couch.
I'm glad I'm behind the screen rather than the couch.
BBC guys.
Yeah. True. Now, Andy, I do have a Nerf gun.
Oh shit!
All right, just in case you keep your hands to yourself on this couch. All right.
Yeah, we're 1.5 away, guys.
Yep, or at least until we're a couple wild turkeys down. Then see what happens. Yeah, it's good plan, mate. How's your about 3 weeks since we've actually been sitting in this room recording? Yeah. How's your 3 weeks? Because I've got some stories to tell.
Yeah. Well, before we get down to your couple of weeks of fun.
Well, mine was like 2.5 weeks leading up to breaking a podcast table, but more on that in a moment.
Yeah. And I've had a pretty good couple of weeks. Had some renos getting done at home, but also we've had a couple of club matches. Practice.
Yeah. Club matches. I remember those.
Yeah, we used to do club matches. Now it's just a practice.
That's
training.
right. It wasn't a match. It was a training because we weren't allowed competition that weekend. Yeah.
So, a small group of people who were widely spread out through the range, individually trained.
Yeah.
And
fantastic.
Yeah, it was really good fun. We threw ourselves in the deep end and sort of focused a little bit on stuff that we knew that we needed work on.
Okay, interesting. Yeah.
And
such as what? Tell us some examples.
Geez. Sort of smaller targets.
Okay.
Shorter times.
Yep.
Faster paced.
Okay.
Because we're trying to
just harder for everything.
It was difficult, but it wasn't undoable. It was a good challenge. The stages or the practice routines were set up really well. Mm-hmm. It was a really good match and training. And I did reasonably well. I think I got second.
Oh wow!
Which is great because the scores weren't kept.
Of course.
But really enjoyed it. And then on the second day, I ran a 22 rimfire comp.
Oh yeah, how did that go? Writing
training.
Well, what you write a match, but then of course it has to be run in a training format rather than a competition format. But
that's right.
Effectively, it still plays out in the fact that you wrote stages and people ran stages and stuff. How did it go?
Yeah, I think it went well. People were doubting me. They were doubting me from the start because
Still are from what I heard.
Yeah. I rocked up in the morning and I said, "Righto, guys, what sort of stages do you want to shoot?" So they were
I don't know where that doubt would have come from then. That seems a pretty solid plan.
Oh, you've really thought about this.
You're crowdsourcing.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what it is. You're crowdsourcing your.
But I did bring a ladder from work, so we used a ladder.
Is that just because it was on your car anyway?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I sort of like my stages I design. I like to have a pretty good balance. So we had some fast-paced one.
Organising a few prior and then most of them at the range.
Yeah,
that's the balance you go for.
I've got some thoughts.
Yeah.
And then,
Okay, good.
But so there was a bit of offhand stuff, unsupported stuff. Then there was a bit of really awkward position stuff. I threw in the reverse rooftop.
Yeah,
so
it's always challenging.
Yeah, stuff that people probably haven't seen before. And then just some good transitional sort of stuff, not only positional but distances. So, yeah, it sort of gets people thinking.
Nice.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm staring at you longingly across this couch. Just it's an awkward position to be shooting from. I mean, to be podcasting in. It's a great noise for our listeners. I'm glad that turkey's going down well, mate. Fantastic. Oh, congratulations. Is that that's not the first match you've run, is it?
No,
first match you've written.
No, I've written plenty.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking that.
Usually they're organised well in advance.
Well, this one ended up not being such a big deal, being that it was a training one and wasn't part of the year-long series. So.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, yeah, it was laid back.
So tell me, you're about to lose that can there. Is that empty? Throw it at Josh. Doesn't matter if there's a bit of liquid that gets on the recording equipment. Now I've made you nervous. I've made you really nervous. Perfect. Yeah, just hide it there. He won't find that. Yep. Good. Excellent.
Love it.
And so you shot a training thing. So what?
Yep.
And you said it's quite tough. What was something you learnt specifically that you can work on? Because Darwin is the next impending match. Hopefully. Anything you'll take away from that weekend that you can apply up there?
I think for myself, it's getting used to my equipment. I've been sort of trialing new bits and pieces, and just going with this new thing's come out. And like lately, you would have seen like the sort of the flat platforms that people are attaching to tripods, and that sort of thing. So I've made up a Jimmy one of them at home and gave it a go, and for the tripod I've got, it didn't really work because most of the movement and flex in my tripod is in the below the ball joint where the legs attach.
Oh, okay.
So having a thing on top just didn't really work. Help. So I sort of need to step it back and just get used to the equipment I have. And one of the stages I ran, it was one of those stages where you could go, I could use a bipod here, I could use a tripod as a rear support, and I could use like a pump pillow as well. And like use all the gear because it was unlimited and that sort of thing. But I thought, no, you know what? I'll just single bag and just run it, and it actually went really well.
Yeah, nice.
So it's that sort of
simplicity.
Yeah, you take it back, you get rid of all the clutter, and you just run it simple. And you see Ash often just uses one bag.
Yep.
And he shoots really well, and it's just a consistency for him. So.
Very good. Oh, it's good. It's good to draw those lessons out from what you've been doing. Yeah, and in terms of writing your stages, what's something that you would draw out of that? That you would apart from being prepared, we all knew that was coming. Yeah, actually doing it prior. Fair enough. All right, we'll move on from that then.
Well, I guess one thing from writing stages is at a club level, like you need to make sure that some things are achievable. I mean, you'll have a wide range of people shooting. So you'll have beginners and you have people who are...
Yeah, you may even have a larger disparity in skill.
Yeah, that's right.
Because you've got some extremely good shooters there and then some guys who are picking it up for the first time.
Yeah, that's right. So a lot of my stages, I made sure that there were easier points to get. So at least the new people would get some points.
Hits. Yeah.
And then you might have... Some targets that are at a lot smaller or at a further distance or just in a trickier position that the good guys will push for under like a shorter time restraint. But the people starting out will take their time and just get those first few solid hits.
Yep.
So, I think that's pretty important. And then to balance your stages point-wise and time-wise as well.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, shall I tell you how I broke a table, the podcast table? For those who have seen the image, it's our normal podcast table, and two of the legs were flat on the ground. But take it all back.
Yeah, let's take it back.
Take it all back to the last episode we did, which was on a Monday night. Yeah. We didn't live stream; it was just you and I.
Emptied our bags, and
sprawled them.
I've lost some stuff since then too.
We put a reasonable amount.
Yep.
Here I am gearing it up. We put a reasonable amount of weight on that table that night. 2 heavy bags and us throwing stuff at it, and so there was a weakening of the table both physically, but then we're about to get the emotional side of things.
Oh, right.
And so anyway, that was the Monday night. Wednesday, I believe, Josh. Wednesday we headed off towards Buchan, which is the reason we didn't do the podcast on Wednesday night. We packed up the van and loaded up, ready to go to a match. And We got to just over the border, I think, and then there was some news came out that things were looking a bit sketchy, and I think I can't remember what the specific news was, but we pulled over to the side of the road and we went, do we turn around now? It was not anything definitive, but it was not trending well. So we went. So I rang Trent, the other PRS director, and said, "Mate, what do you think?" And we sort of decided that, you know what, okay, so be it. We need to go, because if we pull the pin now and it could have gone, the majority of guys are from Victoria. They're only 3 or 4 hours away from the range. Then okay, let's just go. So we go. So we got to Bairnsdale that night, drove from Adelaide to Bairnsdale and got in about 1 a.m. or something along those lines. And we were really specific about how we did it. We thought, let's, there's contact tracing, all this sort of gear. So we stopped at one server on the way over because there was cases flying around Melbourne at this point. So about 2 hours this side of Melbourne, and then we stopped about an hour and a half the other side of Melbourne. Well and truly out of the and we thought, all right, that's great. And then we also thought on the way back, no matter what, we'll stop at those 2 surveys as well. We really, really low profile. And then got into Bairnsdale, stayed at a place, went to the gun shop in the morning, and at this point masks had become mandatory again, or they were about to revoke them and then they put them back in. So, we masked up there, and then we did a live stream from there. And I tell you what, doing the live stream, I don't know if you can watch it and tell, but I think like my heart has just dropped out of my chest, where I'm just like, is this going to go ahead? I'm not convinced. Anyway, we got out to the range and we're like, well, it's the sort of thing where if we decide, you know what, let's just wait for some clarification. If we do that and we don't do anything, we'll get the clarification like, the match can go ahead. It's on the Thursday, and we're like, we literally run out of time to set it up. So we're like, we better go out there. So we did the hard yards in terms of measuring out the distances, making sure the targets were visible. We set all of that up. Then we got to the point of actually hanging the targets on the frames. So all the frames were done. And they were like, this is like the second press conference for Victoria on the day. And we're like, this is not great
you
news.
just would have been hanging on every word. So
we decided, and Brendan from Beretta had arrived at this point. Myself and Josh were there, and we were about to start putting the targets up. We're like, you know what? These are heavy. Let's just leave them on the ground, and we shall await the news. So we decided to film TikToks about running around on the range. We had these big, dirty big sponsor flags. So Brendan took the Burris one, I took the Projectile Warehouse one, and we shoved them in our back and we ran through this course, and I did a horrible jump. And anyway, it was good fun. And then we're like, you know what, this is not looking good. So we packed up all the non-essential stuff back in the van. Just like, we can yeet this stuff out quickly if we need to, but we'll just have it on there. Anyway, we sort of got word that things were about to go into lockdown or get serious, and we're like, you know what, all right, if we need to come back, we will, but there's enough. The hardest part is like measuring all the distances to the targets and stuff. We shall go back into town and grab our accommodation and go and get some food because we're starved.
Yeah, chill out.
So we did that, and then announcement came on. And yes, Victoria was going to go into lockdown, including regional Victoria. All right.
Hooray!
This is about 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock or something like that. 5 o'clock. And I'm like, well, we're not going to get anywhere from here. Like it's 9 or 10 hours back to the border. All right, well, I guess we'll stay in Buckham. We got the accommodation. Plus, at this point, there was no border closure with SA from regional. You could go back. You would just have to get your test, isolate for the first test, and then get a negative, and you were good to go. So, fantastic. No worries. Cool. So we walked across to the little shop. I'm like, I better buy some food here because I don't know what's going to be open. So I just like loaded up on, and I'm not good at buying food that isn't like to eat now. Like it's just this and that. So we're bacon and eggs and this and all sorts of stuff. And then we came back and we got ready and went over to the pub. We're like, well, the pub's open until 11 o'clock. We've got to catch up with Bricky and these are the guys who look after us really well when we go to Buchan. So we'll go there and we'll put some money over their bar and make sure that they got a 5-day lockdown coming up. So let's look after them best we can, and had a great night there. Good chat with them. There was one competitor who was in Buchan who'd made it, came out early, so we had dinner with him, and anyway, went back over to the house, and the next morning we're like, what do we do? We're like, well, it's a Friday, it's like technically a work day. Joe's back here in the warehouse. We're like, it's be good to be around when you're traveling. It's a bit hard on the phone and that sort of stuff. So tell you what, let's sit tight. Beautiful place where Buchan's a gorgeous town to be in. So we're hanging out in Buchan and went for a nice 2-hour walk because apparently we're allowed to do that. And we're like, right, we'll get up real early tomorrow and we will yeet ourselves out of Victoria as quickly as possible. But we thought we'd have a day, and I got a ton of work done that day, and it was quite a useful day.
Nice.
And then filmed some good TikToks as well.
Important stuff.
Yeah.
Quality. Got
some good work done. And so anyway, the next morning we're up at 5 o'clock and we got ourselves out of there, and we're going back. We stopped at the same servo that we stopped on the way over on this side of Melbourne. We drove for 3.5 hours to the other side and stopped at the same servo there. And then I think as we pulled into that servo, which off memory is like 90 minutes from the border, something along those lines, came on the radio, hard border closure with all of Victoria, not just Metro. And we're like, okay, cool. So that kicks in like 4 o'clock or this or that as of half an hour ago.
Oh,
we're like, we didn't even get the opportunity to get across the border. And of course, instant regret about staying an extra day in beautiful Buchan.
Filthy.
But at that point, there is zero you can do.
Yeah.
So 14 days quarantine when we crossed back over the border. And so how did you feel about that, Josh?
Oh, I wasn't that bothered really because I can work from home.
So Josh's wife decided to go into quarantine with him. So she had 2 weeks off work.
Nice.
And
she saw it as just a holiday. She loved it.
Yeah, and then we had to split our house.
Yep.
So I had, the back room and this and that. And
not the first time.
No, not the first time, but it was the longest. Last time only lasted 6 days before they dropped it. Right. And then I got caught up in one of these huge testing days, so 9 hours. I thought I'd be smart. I will get there early to the testing station at 4 in the morning.
Oh,
and I got there at 4 in the morning and I got out of there at about 1 o'clock.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Brutal.
It was.
Yeah, that day 5, everywhere was busy.
Yeah.
So I went to Aldinga and they turned me away. They said, sorry, we're not going to get through the people in time before we close.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it was a full-on one. But anyway, so I was pretty disheartened out of that. And then we carried on, and I got to the next the next day on the Saturday, and the Friday we got through work, and then I had the phones diverted to me, so I was doing that, and then I was feeling pretty bummed about it. So I moved the electronic drum kit inside the room, and that was great. I just got to hit stuff for hours on end. So
that's awesome.
That was good fun. Anyway, quarantine goes through. You do all your things. Phones were diverted, and lots of emails, and I just did what I could to keep things going.
Yep.
And then got out of quarantine on the Sunday morning. Great, excellent. Spent some time with the family that morning. Like, all right, go down to work, unload the van properly, and just sort of get set up to be actually out of kick-ass week. The other factor that was playing throughout this period was we just had to cancel the second match in a row out of 3 matches, one of which gone for PRS. What do we do from here?
Yeah.
And it's not a simple question or answer.
That's a really tight spot.
And we didn't want to just go, oh, well, we're just doing this because, what we think and what our members think and what our sponsors think could be all very different. So we reached out to all the sponsors to get their take on it. We put a survey up for the members to have their say on it. And then we had a meeting with our current match directors as well to get their input.
Yep.
And so we had some decisions to make in that regard, and we'd sort of Trent and I and the match directors, and we'd sort of taken all the feedback on board, and very fortunately enough, it was quite closely aligned to what our sort of thoughts were.
Yep.
We'll get into it. Anyway, came to work on Sunday, came back on Sunday night after having dinner at home, came down, went, right, I need a big whiteboard and I'm going to plan out what we're going to do and who we need to call and all the processes we need to go through to be able to get this to the point where we can publicly announce the plan ahead and make sure it's, covers all the bases and all that sort of gear. Great. Oh, the podcast bench is sitting in the way of the whiteboard. All right, I
don't need that.
I better just shuffle that out of the way.
Yep.
All right, it's on wheels. Just shuffle that out of the way. All right, cool. Got enough room to get to the whiteboard. All right, let's just sit down and think for a moment. Went to sit on the podcast bench. Boom! Hit the deck. Absolutely floored it. I'm like, what the hell just happened? And looked myself around. Podcast bench is on one side. The two of the legs are fine. Two of the legs are like splayed out, like it's spread ready to receive. And I'm sitting on the floor. I'm like, wow.
No more podcasts.
My instant thought was, well, that's one way to get Andy on the couch. And so far that's playing out. So that's how I got to the point of, after cancelled match and quarantine and getting let out and the enjoyment of that and having big decisions to make, and then boom, I'm on my ass on the ground. Breaking the podcast bench. So I'm sorry, man. I broke it. We've sort of, it's sitting next to us with we put a big metal frame on it on wheels, and it should be a lot better once we fix it now.
Well, it looks like it's rated to 1,000 kilos. So
it's rated beyond 1,000 kilos now. That was a great end to my Sunday.
I bet it's just another kick in the guts. Oh, jeez. Here we go.
Yeah, now I've got to work out. And, of course, we're meant to be doing interviews this week. And we sit around the desk, and we had a new staff member starting this week here as well.
First job, fix the table.
It's pretty much.
That's your interview.
That's it. So how good are you at woodwork? So anyway, here we are. That's and I tell you this, I sent the photo of the bench flattened and sent it out to a bunch of crew. One out of maybe 30. Yeah. Are you okay? One person asked me, and that was not you, Andy. It was not Josh. One person's like, are you like, wow, and also, are you okay? And I was fine. I was fine.
Which you took a photo, so that just proves you're fine.
It's nice to know one person cares about me.
You were willing and able enough to take... Yeah,
but I would have taken a photo if my arm was bleeding, cut off. So the fact that I didn't make a TikTok out of it should have been an indication. Perhaps maybe... No, I was fine.
We really need those security cameras up here.
Anyway, that's how we ended up on the couch tonight. Yep. So that's not very shooting related, but that's the way it was done.
I don't mind it. It's very laid back. Yeah,
it is very laid back. Yeah. How does it look on the camera? We can't see the screens.
No,
it's pointing the other way.
Looks pretty good, actually.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're
pretty
naturals.
happy with that.
Yeah. So the fact that I've chosen a black shirt and he's chosen a navy shirt and melded in.
Blend into the couch.
So it's just like a floating head, really.
Two floating
heads. It needs a green screen when you've got a black couch.
Fantastic. Hey, speaking of PRS matches and various challenges.
Yes.
We've got a PRS match in days.
Am I running it?
10 days, 11 days, 9 days.
I haven't done any stages.
You've got plenty of time there, obviously. No, it's in Darwin. And Butters is running it.
Of course.
And, we can probably spill the beans on what we were planning.
Yes, because we probably can.
We were planning to drive. And
road trip.
It was going to be a road trip. It was going to be a proper road trip.
Yep.
We were going to be... we're going to take about 8 days to get up there, something like that. 7 days to get up there. Yep. And there was about 9 of us going.
Nine of us going and 2 coming back.
Because you guys were flying back because you didn't want to drive back. But we had all these challenges lined up and all these, like, each day different and there was rewards and we were going to film it and vlog
so
the whole way. It was going to be.
We
were doing runs around Ayers Rocks and all sorts of. Anyway.
Yep.
we decided that given the recent incident with driving back and missing borders and doing all that sort of thing, that if we ended up 800 k's north of the border, it was very unlikely, short notice with probably limited reception of being able to go, oh, yeah, we better turn around and go back.
Yep. No, that's fair enough.
Yeah. So we decided that we should leave. Spending 8 days driving the wilderness to get to Darwin probably wasn't the best.
We'll drive around South Australia doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will reschedule. So we're going to fly up to Darwin.
I think it's a smart move. Keep it short, sharp and shiny.
Yeah, we're going on Friday, coming out Monday. We're very short, sharp and shiny, straight to it. Got some other things back here that we've that's come up now that we've got to attend to. So, but we're looking forward to shooting a match. I mean, first up that bit,
definitely, yeah,
that part, and then also we have a competition to shoot between ourselves.
Yes.
So I'm putting a caveat there. No, I'm not putting a caveat. I'm reminding us of the rules.
Right.
That if either one of us bail, that's an instant forfeit.
Yep.
I am now telling you that I'm not bailing.
Okay.
However, there are some complications with the match, and potentially some people can go to help and assist that I may not be able to shoot it, and I may actually have another role at it.
Yep.
It's depending on what happens in Brisbane.
Fair enough.
Because it's currently in lockdown. And I will take my punishment. This is not like swindle my way out of my punishment, because we decided that there was no backing down no matter what. I've got a complication to throw you away though. Okay. But there's no backing down no matter what, that it would be decided out of this match. If the match was cancelled or we both didn't go, we both have to clean each other's guns, which has been this long running decision.
6 months nearly.
Longer.
My guns still haven't been cleaned.
Yeah, no.
6 months.
Just add to the 4 years before that. Yeah. But I am, you may have a technical win here.
Oh, okay.
There's a higher likelihood of you having a technical win. But I am going to be loading my ammo this week. I'm gearing up for it. My first actual BRS match. Yeah. Assuming it remains a BRS match.
That'd
if
be
enough
keen.
people can go. So here's one question to you. There is
Do I know how to clean? No.
Do you know how to clean up? I assumed you didn't. No. I figured you'd YouTube it. Because that's my goal. And that's my goal. What if this match in Darwin does go ahead, but it's not a PRS match?
I'll still shoot it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it was still the competition.
I've still got flights up there.
Okay.
Still gonna have a good
All
time.
Right, so this is definitive. Doesn't matter what happens. If there's no match, if it drops out of being a PRS match and just becomes a club match, or if it's a PRS match, or if I can't shoot it for other reasons, whichever way we're having result to this cleaning gun saga after 3 years it's been going on. It's been 84 years.
Yeah. Wow. Jeez.
It's been going on.
I'm getting old.
You're looking at.
Yeah. Thanks.
Good luck getting off this couch.
This doesn't rise up behind me.
It does not. I'm sorry. You can fold this back bit out and it becomes a bed. That's about. Yeah, you can just stay here.
Cool.
Stay here.
I will. Yeah, I haven't been to Darwin personally.
You haven't been at all? Or just for
I don't believe
match?
I think I might have when I was like a real young tacker with the family.
No,
but
84 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, I don't really remember a whole lot of it. It might have even just been a stopover.
Okay.
So, I'd really like to. I mean, even if the match doesn't go ahead.
You're still just going to
go and shoot a club match and then hang out and see a bit of Darwin. Yeah.
Good plan, man. Good plan. Darwin's it's a great match. It's a great club. There's a great crew there. And it's cool. It's a cool place to visit.
Yeah, that's it. Definitely.
Yeah. All right. So what are you doing to get ready for this match? Wrong question.
What should I be doing? All right.
Yes. Let's go with well, let me tell you what I'm doing.
Okay.
I need to work out how to load my ammo. I have had an offer on the Friday that Taylor and BJ will grab my gun with whatever ammo that I've been able to produce, which is questionable because I haven't shot this gun since we did some filming for Outer Edge. Friday week, on the Friday of the match.
Oh, right.
Yep. Since we did some filming for Outer Edge, I haven't shot my gun since then, which is going back when we moved in here, so 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
and so they've offered to grab my gun, put a tuner on it, and then tweak the tuner to the load, sort of that combination. Because we nearly finished load development, but there's probably a little bit left in it. But by the same token, I'm like, that's not going to help me. I'm not going to.
Yep.
Anyway, so and I think that I could lie and say I'm going to do some dry fire. And it is a good thing to do, and it's certainly highly suggest, but I know what my next week and a bit's like.
Yep.
Yeah, there will be no dry firing.
Yeah, I keep saying I'm going to go to the gym.
Yeah. Yeah. I know a
What are
bloke.
you laughing at?
No, a bloke called Jim. That's about as far as I'll get at the moment.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So that's this is going to be a very underprepared match, which is completely on my own fault because I had the opportunity to be more prepared.
Yep.
Could have been more prepared. If I decided to take it more seriously, I would have been. I'm not. So this should be fun.
Well, on the other side, sometimes I find that being like sometimes, and this is really rare, like mainly with more like the club matches, and I don't shoot very well at club matches, so I've just
No, you don't actually.
I've just busted my own theory.
So think this through as you explain it.
So sometimes being a little bit underprepared and thrown in the deep end, I sort of just go, you know what? I'll just have fun.
Is there an element of like approaching that match much more relaxed because you're
I think so.
You know what? It's been a terrible run into it. I've not been able to. I'm just going to go and enjoy myself.
Yeah, that's it. Have fun, enjoy yourself. I know I'm leaving for a wedding halfway through. Like, it is what it is.
So it's a normal match for you then.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
I mean, there's that side of it, but then after the match, you're like, I could have done so much better.
Yeah. I think I don't think it's a strategy to employ.
No. Not advising that.
But I think that you get to perhaps where it's useful is you get to like this point week out from the match. And you're like, you know what? This has not been there are many reasons I could give, but you know what? I'm not going to beat myself up about what I haven't done. I'm going to go, right, I'm just going to go enjoy it, relax and just enjoy things and see how it goes.
We're all there to have fun.
Yeah, because the flip side of that is that if you were like, I should have done this, I should have done that, I didn't do this, I wasn't good at this, this got in the way, and you're just like...
You're going there stressed and you're like amped up and you're stressed and you're holding yourself at... I feel like you're holding yourself at like a really high expectation that I should have done this, now I've got to perform really well. And,
Yep. I think... So let's talk realistic goals. I mean, my first realistic goal is to be able to actually shoot the match.
Yeah, and reload and have ammo.
If I can get all my ammo loaded, that'd be a big win. Realistic, I would like to see myself improve. Over the course of the weekend, because it's been that long. It has been since 2017. I've shot a bigger 2-day match, which was Darwin, and I think I expect my first stage or two to be pretty piss poor. Just well and truly out of practice. That's cool. If I haven't got to like the end of day one and seen some level of improvement, that's when I would be a bit disappointed. Yeah,
for sure.
And I think that, again, sort of see day two come through, maybe the first stage or two I'm a bit nervous about, but as we go along, I'd like to see some realistic improvement. Now, of course, different stages sort of net different results and such. But from a comfortable level, from a like, I've got this. I can.
You know what you need to do on that stage.
Yeah, I think that's it. And the other thing I think I'd like to set a goal for myself is no like misunderstanding of stages.
Oh, for sure.
So being like, okay, this is the stage, this is how you play it out, this is the targets to hit. Even if I take it slow and I hit 30% of the targets, shoot 30% of the targets and hit 10, if I've gone through that stage and had a full comprehension of everything I was meant to do in the order I was meant to do it correctly, that is also a win. Because what happens at these, and I've talked about this before, is you get to a match and and by the nature of what I do and what I've done is you ask this question like this here and this.
You're constantly pulled aside and distracted,
which I enjoy because I enjoy people and enjoy the community we have, which is good. So with that in mind, I'm not saying I need to change that. I'm happy with that. With that in mind, if I can remain focused on each stage, that is an area that I often will trip up in. So I want to be able to overcome that. And for me, that will be a very successful match if I can achieve those two things.
Yep.
I have zero interest in worrying about where I score. I will expect, because the level of competition is so much higher, I expect myself to finish in the bottom 25% in reality.
Well, it depends if Queensland and Victoria are in lockdown. You'd be like top 10.
But there's still the same amount of percentage. There's still some really good shooters that are going to be there.
Yeah.
But I don't expect to. I used to be a 50%er type shooter, somewhere in the middle, and I anticipate that whether I've gotten worse or others have gotten better, which I'd like to think that is the case, that they've gotten better. If I improve both days and I comprehend all the stages and shoot them in the correct manner, big win for me.
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
What about you, mate? What's realistic to put in front of you?
Yeah, I mean, you touched on a couple of things there about like understanding and comprehending like stages, and it's interesting to see. You'll get some really, really good shooters, and if they misunderstand a stage or a target.
Josh just messaged me, "Are you okay?"
See, I did message.
It's a little bit late, man. It's a little bit late.
Yeah, it's like.
Or are you asking if I'm okay being on the couch with Andy?
Oh, it covers both, really.
Sorry, Andy, you were saying something useful.
Well,
probably.
Probably. I don't know.
Wasn't listening.
But yeah, you're touching on like the comprehension and understanding of stages.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, a really big part of it. You could be a really, really good shooter, but if you're not understanding stages and shooting targets out of order or that sort of thing, you're just throwing away points.
Yeah.
So
that would go in the category of a silly mistake.
Yeah,
doesn't reflect on shooting ability. Doesn't reflect on gear, equipment problems, or any other excuses.
Yeah.
It is a silly mistake that you could have resolved prior to the beeper going.
Yeah, that's it, and it's purely that. I think I struggled. It was about maybe a year ago now. I was saying that we didn't shoot for quite a while, and I went back to it, and I was like all over the place. I was thinking, oh, what am I meant to shoot here, and what am I doing? Like it was that keeping that mental sharpness sort of thing. And on the weekend, I was actually talking to Plushy. I was like, oh, with the rimfire match, like I'm happy to just kick back and run it and not shoot it. And he said, well, he had some great advice, thank you. And he said, well, if he likes to run the match and shoot it as well because you're constantly switching between that, okay, I'm running a match, I'm ROing, I'm stage officer, and then, right, I need to put that aside, shooting mindset on, and then suddenly you switch over to, right, you're shooting this stage.
Yeah.
And that's like good mental training and, going from one scenario to shit, now you got to get all your stuff ready, you're dope, and understand the stage, and then, which by that time you should understand it. But yeah, it's just that mental changeover and switching of focus, which is pretty important in matches, especially when you get that really big social side of it as well. You kick back and you're talking to people, then the stage officer yells out your name and go, "What are you doing? You're up." And he's like, "Oh shit, all right, crap, I'm on." Like,
yeah, right. Here we go. Yep, good.
Yeah, so it's that sort of thing. It's
mags aren't loaded. Yeah,
yeah, it's worth well, not practicing for, but keeping it in the back of your mind.
Yeah.
What was your other question? What am I doing to get ready?
Realistic expectations.
Realistic expectations. Yeah. Get to Darwin. Shoot them.
No, I said realistic ones.
Oh, okay.
No, in terms of your performance there, are there particular things you want to see yourself achieve? For you, I mean, in reality, you generally perform fairly well at PRS matches. So
crap at local club matches.
Yeah, you're horrible at those. But a desire to be in the top 10, top 20%, top whatever it might be. There's about 45 shooters able to make it in shooting.
I'd like to, for all of the PRS matches that I shoot, would definitely like to be in the top 10.
Okay.
And some of them I would push to be a little bit higher if I can be. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's where I got to try and strive for.
Mm-hmm. And, what have you shot Monado? Mm-hmm. Where'd you finish there?
Fourth.
Okay. So it's a target.
And that was coming back from a really long break, I think.
But everyone came back from a very long break on that particular match.
Almost at Butters.
But you didn't.
No.
Well, he can't beat you at this match. You've got him in this
That's
match.
a default win.
Yeah, default win. So, okay, so top 10. Yeah, is a minimum, and you're really aiming for that top 5.
Yeah, I'd like to be
position.
pushing up there, and it will be interesting because obviously over the last couple of years, the sport's growing with so many new competitors, and I feel like there's going to be so much new young talent coming in, and people who have really been practicing and training.
Yeah,
I think the whole skill level has shifted up. So
agree. Yeah.
So it'll be really good to go to a little river or a bucking at some point and shoot with those guys who are, really been working hard. And then I might go, okay, now I'm looking at like top 30.
And that's reflective of mine. Although the actual performing and shooting has never been a big contender for me, and it's been a sport sort of building sort of exercise more so. But I'm looking forward to actually sending some copper downrange. With the Outer Edge projects. But I'm looking forward to doing that, and potentially not having a whole lot of sort of admin-y type stuff to be concerned about, to be able to focus on that.
Yeah, after the match you'd be able to relax a bit, and that'd be good.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Darwin's a great place, and very much.
We're chilling in a swimming pool at some point.
I've got the unenviable task though of working out what to take from equipment point of view and weight and all that sort of thing. I need to get a hard case as well, I realise, for my gun.
Ooh.
Yeah. One might. I'll see who might have spare one. But anyway, because our bags were enough to nearly destroy our podcast bench. So they were clearly too heavy for us to take.
Yep.
So I'm going to cull that back fairly significantly. So now I'm really thinking about what do I take.
Yeah. Do we just do a group share? Okay, who's taking a medium? Who's taking who's taking a pump pillow?
Yeah. I think I am going to attempt to run one bag for the match.
Okay.
Again, your concept of simplicity. One, it's a factor of being able to get there.
Yep.
And then also, I'm not going to shoot a ton better if I take 2 bags.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to shoot immensely better if I take 3.
Yep.
I'm going to shoot as well as I can or as bad as I can with 1. That's not going to be the big deciding factor, I think, for me.
Sure. Yep.
And so I think I might take that. Maybe I'll give up a few points, but I'll take one option and run with that.
Yep.
And I think, again, I'll take my binos and leave the rangefinder here because the binos have the rangefinder in it. And I think I'll be I'll cull a lot of the equipment back as well.
No, for sure.
We've got to fly there and keep the weight down. So
that's it.
Yeah, might even take one bipod rather than 2.
True.
Might not even take a scope. I think I might just open sights it.
Hey, look, that's an option. If you want to play that game, that's fine.
I don't want to play that game.
I mean, I'm in the same boat. I really need to take a step back and look at my equipment and go, I've had the luxury of driving everywhere so far, and you can just throw in whatever you want.
Yeah.
I've got a hard case, which I need to buy some foam for, and I'm really hoping that I can fit the rifle, the tripod, the cleaning gear, gamer plate, maybe the schmedium, and hopefully that will weigh the 32 kilo max.
Oh, yeah.
And, that's that bulk of it, and just try and get all the awkward stuff in there and then deal with the rest.
Very good point, mate. Well, I guess we're going to find out by the next episode. Next episode is due probably a few days after we get back. So fingers crossed it all goes all right for us.
Yeah.
There's just, again, like
we might be back here in like 2 weeks. And
we might be back here in like a week next weekend just doing a PRS Nerf match inside the warehouse. Yeah. This is potential. But, I guess at least before we wrap up, I could get a little bit of practice in for that with my...
Thanks for listening to the Precision Shooting Podcast. To continue the discussion, check out our Facebook page. And for more information, head to our website, www.precisionshootingpodcast.com.au. This episode was brought to you by Impact Dynamics.